I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Wednesday, May the 17th, brought to you in part by the Night Latch Group. That's Andy Cunningham. Laverne, Oklahoma, guys. He wants you to hold on to your investment, hence the Night Latch, with gross margin policies, with government subsidies, and without margin calls. He also has all the other livestock policies and offers crop insurance too. For more information, go to nightlatch.net. Fats turnaround in Yankton. Guys, we haven't had any fat cattle trade to speak of at all. Nothing on direct basis. Haven't really had any auctions to speak of that had enough volume really to talk about. But in Yankton on Tuesday, they had a whale of a fat cattle auction. It's where you go early in the week to see whether or not your packers are tipping their hand as to how hungry and how short they are for cattle. And they were short, and they showed that, and they weren't shy about it on Tuesday. And you think, how many they have? About 2,000 head. And you think, well, that's not that big a sale. It's a big sale for a fat cattle auction. That's about half what they sold last week in the entire Texas feedlot areas on a negotiated basis. So that's a good test. 2,000 head of fat cattle there. The offering was more desirable than it has been here for the last few weeks here. They had one major that was absolutely on fire. They are short of cattle, they need cattle, no blood on the floor, and they are scrambling right now for cattle. They had one major that was just getting table scraps. Then they had some others, of course, picking around. They got the bigger regionals in there buying, but it's an active fat cattle auction. They do a good job there. They had a new consigner there. He was a feeder flash gang member. Heard about the Yankton fat cattle sale and decided to try it out. When he got all done, he said he was coming back. So we're just glad to help anybody with their marketing decisions here on the feeder flash. But we're going to give you the complete rundown on the Yankton fat cattle sale during our fat cattle section of the market reports, because we didn't have anything else to talk about. But sorry, Bill Gates, not only is the grain market crashing, and that's going to probably hurt you. I hope you're able to fade it, but with all that farmland you've got out there. But this fake meat stuff's not going to catch on. And I've asked you before, and I'm sure many of you have seen it, that 60 Minutes interview where Bill Gates is sitting in front of his favorite hamburger drive-in eating a greasy cheeseburger, telling the interviewer that normal people like us shouldn't get to eat real meat anymore, but he can enjoy it as much as he would. And I realize it's starting to become a luxury. We can't have it as much as we'd like, a lot of us, but nobody's going to eat that fake shit. And especially the plant-based stuff. It's basically everything we've seen. Now this cell-cultured stuff that's coming, it might be a little bit better, but I'm telling you what, it's still nasty, and everybody's getting a negative connotation on it. Nobody wants it. A leading national shareholder rights law firm, New York City, has announced that it has commenced an investigation on behalf of the Beyond Meats investors, because they think something is up here. They think, how could any legitimate stock price, which had a grand opening there and got a lot of people invested money in it, and have lost a chunk of money. In October of 2021, Beyond Meat stocks were sitting at $95.80. In a year's time, October 22, they were down to $13.35. Ouch. Now they're sitting just over $10 a share. Been a lot of money lost on Beyond Meats, and this law firm is looking into it. They're looking for whistleblowers, asking for people that's lost over 100,000 to contact them directly. But it's a pretty big deal there. Lost a lot of money, getting a bad name. It's a poor product, And and I'm just crying my eyes out about it. It's terrible. But we need to pray for our friends north of the border in Alberta, Canada. We love the Canadians. The Canadians are just like us. Those of us in the ag community, they've just got it a little bit better there. About 6 months out of the year, and then the other 6 months we wouldn't trade places with them for nothing. But they are not standing at the border wanting in here. They've got it better than we do up there this time of year, and we'll have for several months here. Sometimes a lot of them during the winter months, they will head south of the border, and then they skip us altogether and go down to Mexico and sit on the beach for a while just to try to thaw out a little bit. But gosh, this spring has been awfully dry in Alberta. They are having one of the worst fires that they've ever had up there. It's a wildfire. There's roughly 60 wildfires going up there right now, and at one time or another it has displaced over 30,000 people that's been forced to evacuate due to that fire. But they are losing a lot of country up there, and we just pray for them because they are really the best neighbors we could ever ask for, especially in the cattle business. They buy our feeder cattle and they take them away, and it helps us on the supply and demand side a little bit. Let's talk about your board. June live cattle futures down 45 cents at 163.87. August down 27 cents at 162.45. Your back months were all down just a little, but not bad. Down 12 cents to down 35 on the back months of live cattle. May feeder cattle down 80 cents at 205.70, and it is just trying to back into a parking spot here and kind of align with your CME cash feeder cattle index. And it was the only month up front that was down. Your August feeder cattle are up again, up 42 cents, 231.47. Your back months were mostly all higher, up 20 to up 47, except for the farthest traded one out. April of 2024 was down 72 cents on minimal trading. December new crop corn down 9 3/4 cents, just clinging on to $5 a bushel, guys. Just 505 1/4. That's the reason why we're getting so much interest in our feeder cattle market. But your November new crop beans were down 24 1/4 cents, trading at just 12.07 at the end of regular trading. Kansas City hard red winter wheat, we talked about how much abandoned wheat fields there were going to be out there this year. But July Kansas City wheat down 3 cents at 8.95 1/4. No fat cattle trade on a direct basis at all so far this week, and that is a good thing. And if you think I'm trying to scream out the results of the Stockman's Livestock Market fat cattle sale on Tuesday in Yankton, South Dakota, yes I am. I want everybody to hear it. I'm wanting the guys that are selling fat cattle in the 5-area feeding region to embolden themselves a little bit, get a little bit tougher, dig them heels in, at least keep this market steady. Stop the bleeding a little bit, guys. We've given up quite a bit of market position here in the last 4 or 5 weeks with no reason to fundamentally at all. Yes, we've got the big basis there, and it appears that June live cattle has no intention of getting anywhere near what the fat cattle market is on a cash basis, and we've got basis jumpers running at it. But if you hold the ground and sell them, you get an even better basis than what you do if you puke the cattle. So let's do that. We got to thank Gary Marks there, retired fat cattle buyer, knows his stuff. Goes to the market because he loves the cattle market and he loves an auction, and he shares that information here. I can share it with you, and man, we really appreciate him doing that for us. 2,000 head, like I said, in Yankton at the fat cattle sale on Tuesday. The conventional cattle, just cattle, fat cattle, a lot of high quality in there, sold $1 to $5.50 higher, from 176 to 187. Yes, that was 87. Your drug-free, non-implanted program type cattle were $2 to $4 higher than last week, selling from 182.5 to 189.25. Wow, and a lot of them fall into that drug-free, non-implanted category there. He said that there were, and he knows, there were several lots of cattle, lots of cattle, come through the ring and bring over $3 a pound dressed. And that's significant, guys. They're not working with that much money. He said about 90% of the program cattle brought over $1.80, where last week it was only about 35%. So like I said, very active fat cattle sale in Yankton, South Dakota. That is the commercial fat cattle market so far this week, guys. You guys that sell them direct, hang in there. They really need them. Box beef cutout values were lower. Choice cuts down $2.51 at $2.99.47. Selects down 36 cents at $2.84.35. Talk about what else is going on. New Generation Supplements is research-driven, field-proven supplement solutions. They're selling on a big network of over 2,000 dealerships there where you can get New Gen supplements, and we encourage you to try them out. For more information, go to newgensupplements.com. Talk about your feeder cattle market. Your real-time index on DV auction late in the day on Tuesday set at 202.19 for a cash 800 pound on the average weight steer, auction steer up through the middle 12 states. That was down 45 cents from the end of Monday's trade, but we had some awfully good trade there, and that's not too bad at all. 202.19 based at 800 pounds there. I want to tell you about some sales that are coming up here right off the bat. Here today on Wednesday, South Central Regional Stockyards, the Patton family, good friends of mine there in Vienna, Missouri, they've got one of their special feeder cattle auctions. I've always said that Vienna gets the fancy cattle when nobody else has them. They've got them right now. 2,300 head on offer. Be some of the fanciest cattle you can find in central Missouri right there. And yes, they are on dvauction.com. Get on there. If you're interested in buying some of those cattle, get a hold of them early, get approved, and you can view and bid that sale at South Central Regional Stockyards, Vienna, Missouri, here today on Wednesday. Also here today on Wednesday, Paris Livestock in Paris, Texas, also on DV Auction. They are going to be having an in-house video. You don't get those North Texas sales selling big streams very often, but around 3 o'clock, depending on how the run works out, but around 3 o'clock, Gilly Flood's going to have 2 loads of 850 pound heifers, and they are going to sell on his in-house video through DV Auction, guys. They're going to be residing in Clarksville, Texas. They are home-raised heifers. The heifers, the sister mates to them, last year hit all the bells and whistles. They gain over 4 pounds a day, and they killed at a 1,500 pound weight. Them's the kind of heifers you want, guys. Get on to dvauction.com on Wednesday afternoon here. Get approved to bid on the in-house video from Paris Livestock in Paris, Texas on those 2 loads of fancy heifers. Also coming up on Thursday, Elite Livestock Sales. That's the old Montgomery Stockyards guys out of Montgomery, Alabama. And they are going to have another one of their special video sales, Elite Livestock. It's going to be at Thursday afternoon, 3 o'clock Central. And they've got 38 loads of cattle coming off the short rye out there. And they won't have a lot of hide on them, guys, but you're going to be feeding them in the summertime. They're going to be just fine for you. Get on there, dvauction.com. Check out Elite Livestock Sales. That's Jerry Etheridge there and the whole gang. So check them out on Thursday here tomorrow. Let's talk about your big sales on Tuesday. Ozarks Regional Stockyard, West Plains, Missouri, 3,400 head through the ring. Another nearly 700 head that they're on in-house video they do with help from DV Auction. Talked to Dan Hill, my old buddy I used to work with there, that does the market reporting for him and always does a good job. He says the market was all over the place, just like the quality. And but he ended up calling the steer calves uneven from $3 lower to $3 higher. Heifer calves $2 to $4 higher, and we've seen that in southern Missouri this week. Heifer calves out trending the steer calves. She said spots on the heifer calves as much as $7 higher. Had a few yearlings there selling steady to firm, but a good sale there and good receipts there at Ozarks Regional Stockyard in West Plains, Missouri. Your national beef wire stick-out sale of the day was Kingsville Livestock Auction in Kingsville, Missouri. About 3,500 head of feeders went through the ring there in west central Missouri. Steers were called by Tony Hancock steady to $5 higher. Heifer calves higher yet too. It's been that way in Missouri. $5 to $10 higher on the heifers. Look at this automated marker report through Cattle Market Central. You see your best tested weights. You also see the trends on the weighted average from last week, nearly all higher. 346 head of 4-weight steers averaged 461 with a weighted average price of $259.64. 505 head 5-weight steer calves averaged 536 with a weighted average price of $246.57. 329 head of your 8-weight feeding steers in Kingsville, Missouri averaged $833 with a weighted average price of $203.57. Helped out by my buddy Steve Varner's steers. He had 180 head in there, individual quote. They weighed 823 and bring 209.35. Wow. Heifers, 421 head of 4-weight heifer calves average 451, weighted average price 234.85, and 385 head of 5-weight heifer calves average 546, weighted average price on them 222.10. Give you some individual quotes. How about Beaver County Stockyards in Beaver, Oklahoma? They sold 109 head of 450-pound steer calves. They bring $3 a pound on the button. Remember, we talked about those fancy first calf heifer pairs that they were going to have in there on Tuesday. They did have them. There's about 56 pairs there. And I told you the fancy heifers originated off the Boone Pickens Ranch. And they had really top breeding on them, and those pairs bring from $3,300 to $3,485. Most all of them staying local there, guys. How about Denny Rezac Livestock Commission in St. Mary's, Kansas? They sell 60 steers weighed 913 pounds for $203.10. Wow. But the most impressive quote that I saw anywhere on Tuesday, your Mackerson, no BS, top quote for the day, come out of Unionville Livestock Market. Kurt Sporleader sold the Rockin' R steers there. They do such a good job background in those steers, and they leave some good in them for the next owner. 4 loads of them weigh 876 pounds. They sold them individually in loads, but averaged 876 pounds with an average price of $207.40. And that's your feeder flash for Wednesday.